Hi, beautiful people. It's your girl, Karina. Welcome back to Eye of Karina TV. If you guys haven't known, I've been really, really sick and really out of commission for the past 2 weeks, and I am finally actually pulling myself together and feeling a little bit closer to normal. And while know that this was me catching probably one of the COVID variants, as a spiritual person, I do know that my immunity and my gateway kind of fell through because I needed to purge. And I often have gone through a purge of uh, my astrology journey, okay? Because there is a dark side to astrology that I often fall into and have to constantly remind myself to kind of pull it back together and be more honest and authentic about who I am. And I think that a lot of people are not going to want to hear this conversation, but it needs to be said, especially on my channel, because of how I like to do astrology. And this is not to bash anyone and how they do their astrology, but it's just about my personal journey and experience. And I want to talk to you guys about the dark side of astrology in the sense that astrology is an extremely analytical practice. Okay, it comes from this place of experimental, a lot of studying, a lot of self-reflecting, and because of this, quite often you are going to find, or I have found that. When we get really deep in astrology, we can have no action and we can actually push ourselves to be more in the space of criticizing, analyzing, and being very much in our heads, which can also lead to a downplay in negative thinking, inaction, uninspired action. A lot of people who become very judgmental, and including myself, over other people and their actions and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Labeling people because of the fact that they're born under certain zodiac sign, having a stigma against certain zodiac signs, being untapped into our humanity due to the stereotypes of the zodiac signs. These are all of the things that I have experienced as being on my astrology journey. I've been doing astrology since 2010. Um, so I've been doing astrology for over 10 years now. My first half of my journey was not as an astrologer, but just studying. And then the second half became more about me putting myself out there, and it has been fun. But what I have definitely found is that there is a very dark side to astrology. One of my favorite astrologers, I have a few favorites, but one of my favorites is Duello, and because he keeps it so real. And he actually posted recently, and this is actually where I'm coming to about doing astrology and just heeding the warning signs in doing astrology because I wish I could find exactly what he said. Let me see if I can actually look it up. I don't have much time today, but I'm coming to you guys because I want to ensure you guys that I'm still going to do astrology. But how I do it is really important because it's about being healthy. Being sick over the past 2 weeks has shown, I have been practicing in a way that is not soulful, which allowed for my own immunity to be vulnerable. And it's just the honest truth. Okay, so Dwello writes, sitting around just talking about spirituality is not spirituality. I don't know who's trying to make that a trend because if you're not in the real world exercising your spirituality, it won't really gain you any traction anyway. If you're not taking any action and just sitting around and not changing those around you or making real choices in life, then you're not really spiritual. You're just a person that's into spirituality or really just a person that criticizes other people for what they're doing and what they're not doing. So let's make it very clear, though, before the internet becomes too saturated, blah, 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 he says, that there's a lot that people are just gossiping, criticizing, using world drama to better their own biased perspective of astrology. This is a very, very negative talk right here, you guys. And I don't want to deter people from astrology, but I think it's important to let's be real. If you're not actually taking action, you're actually dismembering your mind from your body. And in this talk on this channel, I like to talk about goddesshood and how it's so important. Goddesshood, godhood, kinghood. How the journey of the mind and the body connection must always be in alignment, meaning that we must be in the space where we have an idea, take action. We have an idea and we take action. And quite often with astrology, you can find yourself being in the space where you have an idea, and then it becomes more of a philosophy, and then it becomes more of a, you know, uh, just a mind game more than actually applying it to your life. And on this channel, my goal is to not be an astrologer. Okay. I do like to talk about transits that I'm passionate about. And that's it. I really want to have the freedom to do that, to not be your everyday astrologer. There's a lot of people out there who are being your everyday astrologer. It's so saturated, the astrology world. And I'm not here to be just another, buzz of the next new moon and full moon. It's just not me. There's also this issue with transactional service that I am about. I'm about service, but I want to talk to you guys about giving for the sake of receiving. And I want to talk to you about how in astrology, the astrology community, there is a lot of, as your presenter or your astrologer, that I see with a lot of people, that people are very one-sided, right? So if you become somebody who's a service-oriented person and you're giving astrology information, knowledge, and all of that, you actually just simply continue to create and attract people who are very self-oriented in wanting to be fed the astrology and not necessarily wanting to go out and learn it for themselves. And this is something that I want to change on my channel. This is something that I am intentionally trying to do on my channel, which is number one, do astrology in action. Number one, I'm writing this down because what I'm committed to, okay? Astrology in action. And everything that I do on this channel is about taking your astrology, learning it for yourself, and going out and being able to apply it to your life, which is why certain series that I do about Venus and making over yourself, it's fun, but it's really just about discovering it for yourself. And weight loss for astrology, because I want that to be applying it to everyday issues. I'm not perfect at doing these things, but this is my intentions, rather than being an astrologer that reads the daily transits, the weekly transits, and the monthly transits. And I just want to be clear with you guys about that. And I'm still purging a lot. I'm still very weak right now. I can feel it right now in my bones that I don't even have the stamina to maintain a talk right now. My hands are shaking. um, I'm just really in the space where I have to let go of certain things. And so I want to show my face and be authentic with you about that. So this channel, I've Karina TV, is hardcore astrology. I promise you that I do hardcore astrology on this YouTube channel. And um I don't want to stop that. But how I do it is not for you to label me as an astrologer, because I'm see myself as so much more than that, and I do so much more than that. I just am really battling internally about who I am, what my identity is, and what I really am here to do. And I hope that you guys have patience with me on that. But I do plan to continue doing my Venus series and any sort of astrology breakdowns that allow you to take it and apply it to everyday life. Okay. Um, and then I also really like to talk about certain transits that I'm just personally passionate about. Okay. Because there are lots of transits that you could hype up every day, and that's what happens. People hype up the new moons and the full moons. And I think that that's dope. But for me, not all of them are as special and not all of them need to always be highlighted. So the other thing that I want to commit to on this channel is really just talking about the transits that I am the most passionate about. This is a selfish thing. This is not about me being as much of a service to everybody as much as me just expressing myself. And I'm going to be honest about that. I am not here to be talking about every single transit and making sure that everybody knows all the transits. There are other astrologers for that. I don't even consider myself an astrologer. I don't consider myself an astrologer. Okay. I don't consider myself to be your astrologer. I do not want to create a transactional, thing where you come and you get a reading from me and all of that. I'm happy to give readings, I'm happy to talk about topics. I'm happy to do all of those things, but there is a really strong, a little bit of a toxic relationship that happens in this community where it's very one-sided, and going through all of the transits and all of the signs creates this like feed me issue that I'm not personally about. The other thing is that I am not trying to be an astrologer, and I'm not trying to be the best astrologer. I think that there are people who are really in my corner, and I love the support because they want to see me grow and they want to see me be big online, especially in the field of astrology. But it is not my desire to be competitive in astrology. It is not my desire at all to be the best astrologer, the most well-known astrologer. That's not what I'm here to do. And I think that it's important for me to be clear about that to myself because it's making me sick whenever I try to play that game. You guys, we have to look at ourselves at the end of our life. When you look at yourself at the end of your life and you're on your deathbed, right? And you look back at the things that you have chosen to do, you're going to have to ask yourself, did I do this for me or did I do this for everyone else? And there's a need for you to have to contribute to the world. And I think that that's what we want to do. We want to be important to the people in our lives, but we also have to just check ourselves to see, like, are we just doing this to gain recognition, validation? Why do we do these things? And so this is my journey with astrology, but I encourage you to ask yourself, if you're an astrologer or a tarot reader or whatever you're doing in your life, there has to be that balance of you serving others, but also serving your own selfish desires and soul's needs. And I'm very big on that because you could find yourself in this place where you have figured out, I clearly know, I know what it takes to be a great astrologer. But is that what I really want to be? Do I really want to sit and dissect people and break people down and break down zodiac charts and read natal charts? Do I want to do that? That is something that I have to be honest with you guys and say no. My whole reason for creating this channel is to be on a journey and showing people how to go back to their selves. And my whole thing is about teaching so that I can show you how to do it yourself versus me doing it for you. And there is a bit of a dark side in this community where people are very, and they'll flock to it. Some astrologers have hundreds of thousands of followers, and all those followers want them to do is tell them what's going to happen who they're going to be, how to be. They want these influencers to tell them how to operate their own life. And I'm not trying to control or um, influence my biased point of view of astrology onto you so that you can do as I tell you, or you can rely on me to tell you how to live and operate in your life. And that is a dark side of astrology to me that I am not trying to be about. And I don't knock people's hustle for doing it, but I'm not trying to be about that life. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. So this is to say that I'm here doing what I love, but the expectation, I don't even think that the people who follow me really have any expectation on me. But I just have to put it out there because I'm clearly sometimes in this game where I feel like I need to be like the best astrologer. And then I neglect all of the other passions that I do have. I love to make music. I love to learn about social media. Like, there's just so many things that you're not boxed in to being just one zodiac sign. You're not even boxed into one point of view of astrology, right? Like tropical versus Vedic versus Draconic. You are all of those things and beyond it. And that's what I also see about myself and want to know about myself. When people say my astrologer Karina, like, it really triggers me because, first of all, I don't belong to anybody, and I'm not just an astrologer. In fact, I don't want to be an astrologer. And what I do on this channel is not for me to be a great astrologer. It's for me to just share my love and my passion for it. So stay tuned, you guys. I'm nursing myself back to health, and there's a lot of great content that I plan to bring to this channel. But I just wanted to come live and be authentic and truthful and transparent and raw. And I am grateful to you and anyone who's watching this and anything that I make, because you don't have to, and you don't owe me anything. And, you know, I just want to be honest about that. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys are enjoying um, this new month, this new energy. Mars is now in Gemini, and things are about to shift beautifully, and I'm here for it, and I hope that you are too. I'll see you guys in the next live. I plan to do live still and talk about my favorite topics, so stay tuned.